beer review. So, in this video, not only am I going to review Wraggys Golden Ale, which, you know, I've even put my Lincoln Green t-shirt on for the special occasion. I'm going to re-review it. Obviously, I reviewed it quite a few times when it first came out, and it means so much. So much more than just a beer for me. But we'll crack it open and we'll talk about Wraggys, and then we'll talk about review of the year and all that sort of thing. So, I've not touched this. Well, I actually had some with my brothers the other week. He poured me, I took 2 bottles up and he poured me one out, and I wasn't in review mode at the time. Still tasted good though. So it's got a date, I think it's got a date of July 2022 on, so it's got a cracking date on it. There are still some available at Lincoln Green, funnily enough. As you can see, crystal clear pour. The only thing, the glass is wet because I've washed it outside and not inside. A little bit of a white head on there, not much, about 5 mils of head. Touch of citrus on the nose still. Bottle's great. Cask is absolutely stupendous. When I had it on cask, it's like, wow. It really was amazing. I've kind of learnt that lesson this year, that cask is the king when it comes to beers. Still got that bitiness to it. Still got that spiciness that a lot of beer reviewers didn't seem to pick up on. Everyone got what they got, and it was interesting and intriguing to see what people got. And knowing the hops that went into it, it was kind of illuminating, shall we say, to see what people got. But we all get what we get, don't we? Oh, for me, a traditional golden ale, and for a lot of people this wouldn't be, you know, that much of a beer. To me, outstanding. Obviously, in the original brew, I was the one who was there for the day, went through all the processes, mixed the malt and oats up, and torrefied wheat and stuff like that. Got shown around Lincoln Green's brewery, which was immaculate. It's an immaculate, clean brewery. And again, you're making beer. It's like someone making food for you. You'd want the bloody brewery to be clean and that. So, for those who've never heard of this, and I'm surprised you haven't, with how much I bloody posted about it, especially initially. Obviously, Lincoln Green Brewing Company, Enterprise Park, Wigwam Lane, Hucknall, Nottingham. This is a 3.8% beer, and it says here, founded in 2012, we make traditional ales with a modern twist, brewed with pride in Nottingham. And Billy Ragg is an online beers, wines and spirits reviewer with a large following on his social media and YouTube platforms. His reviews are positive, down to earth and highly supportive of local brewers. We thought the best way to thank him for his kind reviews to brew a beer with his name, with him, and name it in his honour. Wraggys Golden Ale, an easy drinking session ale, 3.8%, and it is, and it does live up to that. And there's still actually a few bottles left. I think there's some bottles left still at Lincoln Green. I've still got a case. Gave away a load, mind you. So we'll talk about that. That's the beer side of things. I'll come back to that as I get down to the bottom of the glass. Now, the year itself, what a year. Obviously, we're still in, and we still are, in the thick of this bloody COVID pandemic, and it has destroyed industries. It's wiped out some big companies, and but it's not all been negative. You know, one must always remember that for every negative in the world, there's positive, and companies that have learned to adapt, even change, have done well. And I myself changed my job in the middle of the pandemic and came out the other side, and I was in the, oh dear, what a job. I was in a job where, you know, mental health, anxiety, stress, and all that. It was it was very, very tough and very desperate. And I can understand now why people come to the stage where they contemplate suicide and things like that, because when you see no end to basically bullying, you see no end to it. Manipulation, bullying, bad managers throughout. And when you see that, and luckily the people on Nottingham's Park Estate are actually quite nice people on the whole. And it was only talking to some of them in the days that kept me going. And then obviously it's only an 8 hour day. Trust me, 8 hours a day in a bad job can feel like 25 hours or more. You know, every day can feel like a week. It's as bad as that. But obviously I left there last, well, not this July, August, left the August before. So by the start of this year, I was already starting to heal. It's a long process, you know. If anybody thinks you can click a button and you can turn off a health issues, then you're absolutely talking out your backside. Um, and doing beer reviews, the community. I mean, God, what a community! From the people that used to come in the chats, the live chats, to fellow beer reviewers, to breweries, local and some national breweries that have been very kind. And you know, I've got admiration for a lot of people. And on a local stage, obviously Lincoln Green brewed this beer, and again that was a fantastic thing they did. But friendships with the likes of Navigation Brewery, um, Castle Rock Brewery for sure, big friendships with them. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with their pilot kit in the future. I feel with one of the, there's two beers left in my beers of the year. I feel that they have a very, if they pushed this imperial stout thing that they're doing more so, and barrel age a bit more, because they've got the warehouse to do it. They can brew it, leave it. They don't have to worry about space. They've got space. Um, there's stuff they can do to really capitalise on that side of things, like they're doing with the craft beer. They can push and push, and all breweries need to look at what the big breweries, the big craft beer breweries are doing well, and adapt and change, and even think ahead of the game. It's always about thinking ahead of the game, and even having a little homebrew competition, a Castle Rock homebrew competition. That would be something to. Yeah, I mean they had Hop Idle, but I think it was only like craft beer breweries that were taking part. I think a more traditional beer competition would be interesting as well. Something to think about. Um, but yeah, Lincoln Green, Bang the Elephant, wow. Going up there, helping out on the collab, although I was steaming on the collab. You know, start drinking at 7 in the morning, you are going to eventually get steaming. Hitting 13% beers at 8 in the morning. God, no wonder I was absolutely levered. Um, yeah, it was a cracking day though. Brilliant food, brilliant hospitality, and it brought together a load of nano breweries together. And they created a lovely beer from the Robin Hood Beer and Cider Festival called Shazbot Nano Nano. It was a good beer. God knows how it actually got there, because I'm not sure if anybody was actually taking any notice. I think most people were drinking and were abbreviated. But I'm sure somebody was taking notice of what was going on. It turned out great though in the end, so you can't fault it on that side of things. But yeah, the going to Nottingham Craft Beer Festival this year, that was amazing. If you've never been to a craft beer festival, it's well worth going down and just to your local craft beer festivals, you know, supporting the breweries by buying their beer. Um, it's all good. It's positive, and like Nottingham's, they had some of the big boys of the industry. Vault City with it, Northern Monk. Oh bloody hell! I forgot some of the other names. Brewery York and God, no, I forgot them. Yeah, they've gone. Although to be fair, I actually stayed and just drank mainly from local breweries and chatted to local breweries. And we've got some great breweries in Nottingham, some great friendly breweries. Some that are a bit more reserved, some that are friendly. And they're the best breweries for me. People who talk to you and are nice. Breweries that, look at you like, it's just a customer. And, that's never the way. Social media is king these days. And it's keeping on top of social media and pushing social media is where they will all learn. We've got a brewery in Nottingham called Urban Chicken, well, Ilkeston, and his social media is probably the finest out of all of them in Nottingham breweries. I mean, some of the Nottingham breweries are absolutely crap for social media. But and they are, they post one post a week. No, you've got to be on it every day. You've nearly got to be having somebody in the background catching up all the time on stuff, liking when someone mentions your brand. But on a national scale as well, the likes of St. Peters Brewery, Vocation Brewery, we are in the midst of possibly the best beer times that I've ever known. Over the year of the pandemic, these breweries not done a lot. Probably just get supermarkets going, but not done a lot in the pubs because they couldn't. And by changing, diversifying, bringing out more flavourful beers, the industry is really at its top. And hopefully more collaborations. For me, I'd like to see the big boys who are doing well help out some of the companies that are struggling, because there are companies out there struggling. It's not been kind, this pandemic, to everyone. And just that bit of collaborating, putting people's, oh yeah, I remember that brewery, yeah, oh yeah, that beer that they made, and yeah, it's what's needed. It's what's needed. It's a hook up, isn't it? It's like the thing with beer reviews and beer, giving each other's a hook up. You see it all the time. I'm always the one that feels a bit daft doing it personally. It's why these days, and I've kept out off the online chats these days. One, because I get too bloody drunk doing it, and two, time as well. Time. Obviously, I had 2 weeks off, but time, working 6 and sometimes 7 days a week, it's tough to get the time in to do a lot of things. And obviously, you've got to spend some time with your family, otherwise your family won't realise you're still there. So, moving forward as a channel, definitely want to go to the Craft Beer Festival in Nottingham again this year, and the Robin Hood Beer and Cider Festival. I won't go down and help out. I helped out this year for one day. Won't do that again. I've understood how it works and the effort that goes in, but yeah, I'm busy enough myself without going down there. Wow, still got some nice bite in it. Citrusy, bitey. Spiciness isn't as spicy as it was, so it's settled down. Initially when it first came out, it was blooming spicy, much more spicy than it was on cask. Different beasts. This is now my understanding of breweries this year, and going on brewery tours, different brewery tours, you get to understand how breweries operate and operate differently. They all operate slightly differently. I mean, in the last year and a half, I've been to Sadler's, Lincoln Green, Castle Rock, Bang the Elephant, Navigation. I don't think I've been to any others. No, I don't think I have. But yeah, and had some cracking, actually, either unofficial tours or proper tours. And they all work differently. Well, eventually gets to the same point, making good beer. But they all work differently, and they've all got their own issues that they have to put up with. And the best brewery is a brand new brewery, like what Liquid Light have done. I mean, what they've done is good. It's but again, that's money, isn't it? You've got to be able to put the money into that. They did a crowdfunding scheme which worked well for them. I suppose it depends how well loved you are by other breweries and people. Going forward into this year, I will not be hammering big ABV beers. I'm going to try and get the beer wall down, down to much more manageable levels. Probably just 2 shelves of beer, top 2 shelves, and the third shelf will probably have glasses and something on. Yeah, certainly lower the alcohol levels. One that I'm drinking, and just catch up, because I've got some catching up to do. As you can see behind me, that's a staggering amount of beer, and that's nothing compared to the rest of it. It's all the way around. So yeah, need to catch up. Hoping to do more friendly work with local breweries. Would it be nice to get another collab, another Wraggy beer? Yeah, it'd be great. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, well, it's not a big deal, really, is it? I've done it, and I've learnt this year that personalities in the brewery industry. Yeah, some. It's interesting to see how some people's what you see on camera is not quite what you see when you actually meet them, and things like that. And interesting that is, but I won't go into further details. But yeah, so the traditional beer of the year for me, certainly this. It is, for me, just means so much, and I'm going to keep a bottle closed, sealed, and keep it for forever, really. Unless another Wraggys ale comes out, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? I mean, my workplace actually stock this, and it's selling quite well, and it's different to what they sell, and it's that realization in industries now that not everybody wants your standard stuff. People want to be drinking different, and yeah, it's a proud moment, for me, and especially beer reviewers. It lends that thing that the beer brewers and the industry actually sometimes listen to somebody who talks shite on YouTube, who isn't an expert by no means. So yeah, by no means, just like good beer, as you do. Right, big apologies for everybody watching this both now and slightly in the future, that I didn't have the live comments enabled. I had a few glitchy days over Christmas, and I think possibly drinking too much, but also my brain's not as active. When I'm at work, my brain is always thinking, and it keeps those anxiety, stress demons at bay, just by thinking and being exhausted through thinking. And then in the Christmas, I've not thought so much. Certainly drank a bit, but not thought so much. And then they're allowed to come back. It's strange, and it's bloody mental health, absolute swine. Yeah. If you, for those who have never had it, you'll never truly understand. And it's only when you have these issues that you truly understand about invisible illnesses. Although you never know if someone's pulling the wool under your feet and bullshitting, but yeah, in that respect. But yeah, looking forward to 2022. Looking forward to possibly setting up my own little grain brewing kit, as cheap as I can get, because obviously I ain't got silly money to go out and buy something daft. But I definitely want to do that. Whether I do it with plastic, and I've seen something yesterday on the internet where they was using a DIY, and they've drilled holes in like plastic buckets and put elements in, and using that. And I thought, well, that's interesting. It's doable. I mean, there's always another way of doing it, and a much cheaper way as well. Because not everyone can afford to go out, spend £1,000 or £2,000 on kit. So to get it done as cheaply as possible, and controlling temperatures of boiling, the grains and that, and then being able to make your own stupendous beer. Now that's what I want to get to. Will I get to that? We'll see. But enhancing the beer room a bit more, doing more home brewing, wine, beers, maybe the odd cider as well. yeah, it's going to be a good year coming up. And yeah, big thanks to, like I say, local breweries. Certainly the ones that reached out to me in kind way: Lincoln Green, Castle Rock, Navigation, Bang the Elephant, Urban Chicken, Alter Ego. Yeah. Um, Massive thanks also to St. Peters and Vocation Brewery as well, and No Frills Brewing Company. I nearly forgot about them. Um, and big thanks to the likes of Mr. Boolman Beer Reviews, Kent Beer Reviews, Merseybeers, Hopzine, Bluenose Beer Reviews, Scott and what Scott and Wonder, All the Beer No Idea. The list just goes on. Um, and Danny, Rampant Lion. Yeah, I could carry on all day, couldn't I? Bloody hell, so many. And cheers, everyone. It's been a good year. Looking forward to what happens next year. And yeah, out of 5 for this, it's a good 4.6 for me. It probably isn't for everyone. It won't be for everyone. But for me, it is. It's the traditional beer of the year for me. And well played, Lincoln Green. It was a very kind moment. Cheers.